Good evening. I'm so glad to have my friends with me today, and I've got Kyung Chin from South Korea. Hi. I have Roger from India. Hey.
Hey,
I've got Jackie from Mexico. Hello.
Hola.
And I have Janan from Iraq. Hello.
Hello. Hello,
Marhaba.
Hala.
It's good to see you all today, and
Thank you so much.
I know that we're kind of tired of COVID-19. Um,
Mhm.
I do want to say that just a few minutes ago we were talking, and we were excited because a friend of mine thought that he had COVID-19, and he got the test results back while we were just getting ready for this class. And so he is fine. He's COVID free, and we're so thankful.
Thanks for God that he's fine.
Yes, yes, we're so glad. Well, if you've been paying attention to the news, you know that right now we've been having activism take place in Richmond and all over the country and all over the world. In fact, people in other countries are joining in. Now, each one of us may have different opinions. We may even have opinions on one side or the other uh, within the same person. You might have opinions on both sides. But the purpose of this discussion today is to kind of talk more generic about what it is to do activism so that you can then have your own conversation with people about what's happening, and you'll be used to the some of the terminology. So the first term that I want to use is a term that we often use in daily speech. It's the term cause. To have a cause is to have a reason. It's to have something that has gotten you excited and you want to do something about it. I had a cause when I was in Kazakhstan, and I got this from my son. He actually had the cause first, and that was he wanted to help out children who had special needs, children with Down syndrome, children who were not able to walk, children who had cerebral palsy. And so there was a school for these, a children's home, and we began to go there and help them. Well, we not only helped the kids at the home, but we got excited about telling people about the needs of these children and helping the parents of these children. And so it became a cause for us. And it was peaceful. There was never any kind of rioting or any kind of negative publicity with it. It was all positive, I believe. So you can have a cause that is positive. Do any of you have causes that are like that you've been a part of? Maybe, for some people have causes for animals. They have causes for a certain group of people or something like that. Any of you have a cause like that?
a little bit for animals and the environment.
The environment, yeah, that's a political issue in a lot of countries, but it is a cause. And personally, I think we need to protect our environment. I really do. Yeah. How about the rest of you? Do you have a cause that you've been active in or that you think about?
Like a cause of a pollution in the air.
Okay, again, the environment. Yeah.
Yes, environment. Yes, we need to find a result how the pollution was done, because there's many people uses cars, factories, and all of this is a cause for the pollution.
Yes.
COVID-19,
One of the good things about COVID-19 is that the amount of air pollution in the world diminished significantly for a period of time. And now it's going to start back up again.
Yeah.
But I've talked to a lot of people who did the same thing I did. We made gardens this year. And so hopefully the gardens are going to clean up the air pollution a little bit. Then again, I don't know if I
Yes.
want to eat lettuce that's cleaning up the dirty air. Anyway.
Yes. Planting is a good thing for air pollution.
Yes. Yeah.
Planting trees, yes.
Yes. Well, now, what are the things you've seen on the news that about the demonstrations? And again, I don't want to talk about the issue right now so much, but I want to talk about what are the actions that you're seeing in the news, or you're reading in the papers, or you're seeing on the internet.
Well, I see a lot of people wearing masks but being together, and a lot of, since they cannot be, I'm guessing, yelling the stuff, they have like signs telling what they are marching for or what is their cause.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, people usually have signs anyway, because that way you don't have to have your volume up to understand what was said. Don't have to have a video. Yeah. What
I'm not
else are you
much sure.
I also seen, but I don't know if it's true or not because I saw it on Instagram, so you can edit the picture, so I don't know if it's true. But that the street that leads to the White House is all like Black Lives Matter in the
Oh,
street.
yeah, I don't know what that is. I've seen that picture too, and I wondered if it was just illustrated with that, or has the street.
Or is it real? I need to go there and see it for myself.
You are the closest. Yes, that's your assignment.
Yeah.
Go and see
Okay.
it's really done like that. Yeah. Well, so one of the things that I've seen is marches. There have been some marches that you've seen in different cities. Now, we use the word march as one of the months of the year, but a march is when people are together and they're going in the same direction, basically, and they're making a point about something. It's different from a parade. A parade is more of a celebration. Have you ever seen parades in your home country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of parades did you look at there?
We used to have this parade for Independence Day.
Okay.
So where different states come together and demonstrate their state symbol or ideology, something like that. Culture. Yeah.
Okay. How about in South Korea? Are there parades?
Yes, usually for festival, like a cherry blossom festival or some other festival, we can see parade and some amusement park. Just like we don't have any Disney World or something like that. We can see the parade at there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you go to Disney World and you'll see a parade. Yeah. How about in Iraq? Do you have parades?
No, I don't see it there.
Okay.
But I see it in Bahrain.
Bahrain? Okay.
And
Celebratory.
like National Day or something like this. It's happened, make festivals and something like that.
Okay. Jackie, what about Mexico?
Yeah, for the Independence or Revolution Day, well, both, because it's different in Mexico, and also for the Dia de Muertos.
Okay. That's the Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
How about for Cinco de Mayo?
Not so much. It's not very important in Mexico.
Okay. Very important.
We lost.
Americans.
We won that battle, but we lost that war, so it's not so important.
Okay. Now, what people are trying to do when they're activists and they're doing a march is they are demonstrating. And now we use the word demonstrate in other ways. How are the other ways that we use the word demonstrate in our daily speech or demonstration?
When we show how something works.
Okay.
Or we show our art or our presentation. It's like to present or to show how it works. A demo.
And a demo, yeah. Okay.
Demo.
So a demonstration, have you ever had to give a demonstration to someone, like an official demonstration of how to do something? Or did you do it in school? Like
in school.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of so suppose if you're organizing a seminar, you have to explain what you're telling. So what you want to explain. So I had that experience, like So
yeah, do you like giving demonstrations?
uh,
No.
in the college and office, yes. That's
Okay.
not the public demonstrations.
Not the ones on the streets. Okay. Yeah. How about you, Janan? Have you had to do any demonstrations before? And I'm meaning like the first form of demonstration, the idea of explaining how to do something.
Yes, I do it with Madame Kate. When,
Your friend Kate. Yes.
yes, in
cooking.
Richmond establishment.
Yes.
When we had demo about cooking food in front of people.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We need you to do that next time.
Yes, I make it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and was very successful.
Kyung Chen, have you done demonstrations before?
Yes, from school and from my work, but I think I'm not good at it because I don't speak in public very well, so I don't like it, but I have some experience. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, when it comes to demonstrating on the streets, which would be marching or holding up signs at a place, this is also usually there's another word, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but there's another word that usually is added to demonstration. It's to modify it. It's an adjective. Peaceful demonstration.
Yes.
And so that's one thing we're hearing about in the news. People say we are being peaceful in our demonstrations. Now, sometimes the peacefulness changes, but and I feel bad for anyone who is demonstrating whatever it is that they're demonstrating when things go bad and it's no longer peaceful, because then they don't get a chance to get their word out. And sometimes people will say, well, look, they're not really peaceful. But
yes.
Some people are saying
it changes the message.
Yeah. But I don't understand. I don't want to report the wrong thing here. I don't want to report what is popularly thought right now. But I will say that it has been factually said that in some of the cases where people are arrested, half of the people arrested are not from the town where their arrest took place. So like in Richmond, they said that. Now, I don't know if that means they were from Henrico or Chesterfield, or were they from New York, or were they, where were they from? But that's troubling when you hear that people are coming in from out of town to do so.
Yes.
But then again, if that's the focal point, if that's the place where you go to demonstrate, then I guess you have to go from out of town. The word protest, it means to make a statement against something, and we could say a peaceful protest, right? So what do you call a person who protests?
A protester. Protester.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a protester. Now, there's another word that comes from protest, a Protestant, and that is a type of Christian who is usually a Western Christian from Europe or America, but not all people in Europe and America, of course, but let's say Northern Europe. They are Protestants, and so they were protesting against the Roman Catholic Church.
Yes.
But that's not the same thing as being a protester today. It's a tradition within Christianity. We didn't talk about this word earlier, so I'm just going to mention this right now. We have a word, campaign. And campaign is another word for cause a lot of times. Have you ever heard campaign used as a cause?
Yes, I think in Legally Blonde.
Okay. Yeah, well, people say you're on a campaign, and they're not talking about an election. They're not talking about something military. They're talking about a cause. You're trying to get something accomplished. So we use the word campaign. There's actually a word from history that I really don't like to use because it was a very bad time in our history, but crusade. A crusade is a military campaign, but sometimes people use the word crusade to mean cause. And it certainly was a cause, just not the right way to go about that cause. And then in Christian use today, we don't use it very much because we don't want people to misunderstand us. But people used to use the word crusade to mean a big Christian meeting. A big meeting where you have lots of people at the meeting, and you have a lively preacher and that sort of thing. But now we also can use campaign in the sense of a military campaign. So that's when it's not just a battle, but it's trying to take over a certain area. And then of course, what's the most popular way that we use the word campaign?
In political things, right?
A political campaign, right. The end result is
elections.
An election, right. Someone gets elected. So we are in a campaign season right now. And, there's basically two people that are trying to become president for the next 4 years.
Yes.
And so they are campaigning. That's
campaigning,
the word
yes.
we use, yes. So, Raja, you could be on a campaign. Your campaign could be, maybe your campaign is something about spreading some good news about something, and that could be a campaign. Kyung Chin, you could be on a campaign trying to stop something that's bad. You're on a campaign, or you have a cause. Now then we have the word revolution. And so what do we mean when we talk about revolution in this country in a historic sense?
About the independence.
Okay. Yes. And
the fight for independence.
The fight for independence. Janan, you are the most recent, you're the only other American citizen in our group right now. So United States citizen in our group. Jackie is a North.
Yeah, I'm American.
Yes. So Janan, do you have anything you want to add about the American Revolution that we had back in the 18th century, the 1700s?
I heard about it, but I cannot add something, but
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No. What I want that people in every century and in everywhere, not just in America, all the time want peace.
Yes.
And I think what happened in the past, okay, which causes America great now.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened now, it's a simple thing that when you compare it with when you want to compare it with the past.
Okay.
So maybe a mistake of someone which causes this, but as a person who live in America, when I speak about myself, I don't face anything which is wrong from the black people or from the white people. All of them are the same here. Mm-hmm. This is what I notice, and I touch and I see the peace in this country. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is what can I say. So we have in Arabic things we say. I will say it in Arabic and I will translate it. What we say, قل ذاك الغيم جابها المطر. It means what the cloud did, what happened, and what the cloud did gain the result that it rained.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the suffer of the people from many years before caused that how now American people can go outside and say what they want. This is the meaning of the peace. This is the meaning of the peace.
Yeah.
That I can go outside and I can say what I want, and I'm not afraid from anyone.
Right.
So this is why America is the land of peace. It is a land of peace.
Now, in your home countries, I'm talking to all four of you now, have you ever been involved in a protest or a demonstration, some sort of large-scale demonstration? Anyone?
When I'm thinking about Iraq, people from my country, no one catch my family because we are a safe community, a very safe family. But I heard about our neighbors that when someone say everything, they go away. They come to take him and never be back to home.
Oh my, okay. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you all were playing it safe. You were being careful and cautious.
All my family, they become very careful to speak with anyone, and we don't speak about political thing. But when the people I heard about of many families in our country, they go and never be back.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Jackie, you said that you had been part of some sort of demonstration once.
Yeah, and I actually had to Google out that demonstration to figure out like what if it was that big of a scale, and apparently it was. I didn't know, and I was part of it. You mentioned the Spring Arab.
Arab Spring, yes.
Arab Spring. Well, the demonstration that I was part of was part of it in some way.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It was called Yo Soy 132, I'm 132. It's based on a student movement against like the elections or the candidates of the election, because mainly one that was who actually ended up being our president, unfortunately. But it was because he had done several evil acts during his previous years, and we were against it, and we protested about that peacefully. And the title is because they said that the ones that started that protest, they said that weren't students, and they initially was supposed to be 131. So everybody that was part of that protest made a YouTube video with their credential, their student ID, saying I'm 132. I'm protesting about this. I studied about this, and that's how I'm gonna tell about I'm going to use my voice about this.
So you use social media, you use YouTube for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Raja, were you ever part of any kind of demonstration in your home country?
Not that I recollect, no.
All right. And Kyungchin, were you part of any demonstrations in your country?
Though I never involved any demonstration, but there were many demonstrations in Korea for about 20 or 30 years ago, but not lately these days. But I never involved in them.
Okay. And what ends up happening that's really negative with the demonstration is when a mob forms and we have a riot that takes place. And what do you call a person who is involved in the riot?
Rioter.
Rioter, yes. And so when the riot is taking place, that's when it's no longer a peaceful demonstration. And the concern is that there might be people coming from the outside who are just trying to riot. And like I said before, that keeps the actual message from being heard. But then again, people pay attention to a riot. I'm not giving a prescription, but I'm just saying that people will pay attention to the news when there's a riot more than when there's a demonstration. So maybe it is part of the tactic at times.
I agree. I mean, a peaceful riot is good, so it gets noticed by the media and everybody else.
Yeah.
So it catches the eye and ears of everybody.
Well, then what ends up happening in the riots sometimes is the stores will be broken into, glass will be shattered, and people will start to steal things. What do we call that act of when they're stealing things from stores?
Thieves.
Well, they're thieves, yes, but in this case, it's a particular type of thing. It's called looting. And the people are looters, and what they're taking is loot. And so the word loot could be spelled differently, and it's a type of musical instrument. But in this case, it's L-O-O-T. And now the people that try to stop the riot are the riot police. And they usually wear helmets and armor, some sort of body armor, and they have batons, and they might use rubber bullets, tear gas, pepper spray. And this is something that, on the one hand, peace needs to be kept. On the other hand, the police have a lot of stress on them because as they're trying to keep the peace, sometimes, they're humans. They're only humans, and they can get out of hand, which this is what a lot of the people are protesting right now. I think we do need to hear the protesters, and we need to hear their message. But we need to support the police as well, because where would we be without police? We had the police come to ESL once. I don't know if Dinan or Jackie were there then. Okay. And it was
but I heard of it.
You heard of it, yeah. One thing that I really appreciated was there was a young lady from Mexico who was in that group that day, and she said after the meeting, she said, "I'm so glad you had the police because I've always been afraid of the police." Now she's legal here, but she said, "I've always been afraid of the police, and today I got to see them as good people." And so that's we have to humanize those that have been dehumanized. Now, when I was in Istanbul, I remember we were moving from one apartment to the other, and the day before we actually moved, I caught the bus from my apartment and went to the other apartment, and I had a couple bags with me, and so I was just bringing a few bags over, and when I got off the bus, there was nobody there in the streets. It was quiet, and I didn't know why. It was May Day, and I didn't realize that they had a May Day parade and demonstration. And so as I came around the corner, all of a sudden I heard something, and I turned, and I saw, I think it was about 100 riot police standing ready. And I looked at it, and then I just kept on walking. Now,
this is the best thing you can do.
Yes. Well, a few years later, we were back in the States just for a few months, and they were having some big demonstrations in a park in Istanbul, and the police came in and created some stress there. And so for many months after that, there would be demonstrations in our city. We missed a lot of that, but I do remember once when we were on the Asian side of Istanbul, and my banker, she went to my church, and she called me on my cell phone, and she said, "Mr. Payton, where are you?" And I said, "Well, my wife and I are over on the Asian side." And she said, "You need to come back as soon as you can and we can't have our meeting at church tonight because there's going to be a big demonstration. So Clover and I stopped what we were doing. We got on the bus, came back over, and we were on this elevated highway, and we took the ramp to come down to the street level. And as we were coming down the ramp, we saw this big crowd of people coming one way and another big crowd of people coming the other way, and our bus went right between them. Now, I don't think they weren't against each other, but it was very dramatic. And I don't know if it was that day or it was another day, but I remember going outside my apartment, and I began to get the sniffles, and I smelled something strange in the air. And there were people that stayed in my apartment when we were away, and they said that they had the tear gas come in through the windows once. They had to close the windows.
Yes, tear gas.
Yeah, it was bad.
Very bad.
Well, you know, some people, when it comes to activism, they go to the streets. Some people use social media. And we talked about the Arab Spring. Twitter was something that helped the Arab Spring so that people could find out where to go. And Twitter is something that people are using even today, and Instagram and Facebook. I have not been participating in the demonstrations, but as a pastor, I've been involved with going down and praying for our city and being political in that. And so a lot of pastors have been doing this and praying, and also having the opportunity to lead music and sing songs of worship. So it's sometimes the demonstrators weren't happy with us being so loud, but it was interesting. I saw two people come and several people come and confront some of the people, but then they ended up joining those of us that were worshiping and praying. So that was interesting.
Yes.
For that to happen.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been nice to meet with you all, and we've gone about 30 minutes now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. One thing that I really like about America is that we have a voice. We have a right to meet and demonstrate, and we need to listen to people, what they're demonstrating. Yeah.
Sure, we need to learn the people how we can demonstrate and we can say what we want, but in peace.
Yes. Well,
God bless America. God bless America.
Thank you. God bless all of us. Yes. Well, I'm so glad that we could meet today. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.